I think everyone's ears perked up yesterday when Bloody Disgusting revealed the fact that Miramax is once again leasing out the rights to Halloween franchise. Now, how would that relate to video games? We're going to break that down in just a moment, but if you want to hear what my thoughts are on future TV and movie projects, click on the link above. It goes to my new channel, OHG Horror. You can see all the videos on horror movies there, but if you want to keep up to date on horror games, stay on this channel, hit the subscribe button, and turn on the notification bell. So how does this play out? If Miramax were to license out to a gaming company, it could go one of two ways. The first way would absolutely have to be horror asym. Like, let's be honest, that is probably the most likely way to go, and he's been in Dead by Daylight since October of 2016, when the game was strictly on PC and hadn't come to console yet. And let's be honest, when the game did eventually come to console the next year, Dead by Daylight having Halloween in the game made it that much more impactful. And the game has been going for 7 years since then. Unfortunately, we haven't got a whole lot of Michael stuff since then. So maybe it's as simple as Dead by Daylight going back and trying to get more skins or more licensing components out of Miramax to get more Michael stuff in the game. Hell, we've been asking for a Blighted Myers for 7 years now. Is it time? Is it time to finally get that? And also, in case you didn't know, when you play as Michael Myers in Dead by Daylight, you can do reenactments of Saber killing Evil Dead the game. As you can see me mooring my ash here. All jokes aside, I think it would be kind of interesting to see where it would go. I mean, hell, even Wes Keltner of Gun Media was super excited, as you can see here. Now, he is saying they're not looking to do anything, and I 100% believe him. I mean, let's be honest, Texas Chainsaw is pretty much still in its infancy. It's been out about a month, and there's no way they're looking to bring on another massive franchise. But the man did get a chance to work with not only Friday the 13th, and Texas Chainsaw, so he got Jason and Leatherface under his belt. I mean, why not go for the hat trick? If Gunn weren't a company that would be able to get their hands on the license, Ilphonic would also be a prime company, but unfortunately maybe a little too busy in their own right, as they still have Ghostbusters content coming out. It's dropping its new update for its 1-year anniversary next month, and they've just taken over from Good Shepherd on the Killer Clowns game coming out next year in the first half of 2024. So Ilphonic's probably a little busy. Now Sumo might have a little more time. They are still working on Texas Chainsaw, but it would most likely go to another company. And at that point, though, you get a little bit leery if it's an ASIM going to a company that may or may not have ever touched them before, because we saw what happened when Saber got their hands on Evil Dead the game, and very quickly it just became a year-long cash grab, and then they just killed the game. If a development company bites off more than they can chew, they're just going to get the fuck out. Like, that's it. There's no more game. Halloween's done. The other possibility is maybe a little more retro, like during the Nintendo era all the way up to, say, PS2, Xbox 360, we had a lot of horror games that were just single player, whether it was Jaws or Friday the 13th or Nightmare on Elm Street or Evil Dead. A lot of those major horror franchises got many single player games. Sometimes you played as the killer, sometimes you played as survivors escaping the killer, but there's a lot of cool things they could do with a single player game. And I know a lot of ASIM players are begging for companies to return to single player horror because of the fact that they want to just feel like they can play the game, complete the game, and move on and not have to worry about live service, whether the game is or is not worth their time, and is whether it exists anymore. And a Halloween game could actually make a lot of sense for a single player game. You could play through Laurie through the years. Like, let's be honest, Laurie Strode goes back to 1978 and she's still alive here in 2022 at the end of Ends. Like, you could really play through that entire story and make a 30-hour game that would be a lot of fun. And each time you have to defeat Michael at the end of a phase or as a boss, and there's a lot of cool stuff you could really do and a lot of inventive things. Now, what kind of company would probably take that on? Well, maybe it would be something like the two mega giants from Japan, like Konami or Capcom, who have done great work over the years making games like Resident Evil and Silent Hill. Hell, we have new ones of both coming out in 2024. Anything to do with this licensing opening right now is nothing imminent. Like, the quickest thing you would probably see for a game would be an ASIM, probably. If it's a single player game, it might be 7 years out. But it doesn't mean that the door is closed for Michael Myers and or Laurie Strode making their way to your consoles. Probably not your PS5 or your Series X, whatever the next generation is. I mean, obviously it'll be a PS6, but who knows what Microsoft will name their next console. Let me know in the comments below, what would you prefer? Would you prefer a Halloween single player game, or do you want a cool new Halloween ASIM that you can just log hours and hours on? I think both sound like really cool ideas, and I would probably be invested in both. Even if Michael Myers isn't my favorite in the horror genre, I still think it would be a fun game to play and a lot of fun to play with your friends. As always, thank you for watching, and later, mates.